Welcome back to the Best Facts Apologetics Answer Show here on the Great Commission Alliance Media channel on YouTube. We are interviewing Dr. Jeff Zweerink. If you missed our last questions with him, you can get all those at the Great Commission Alliance Media channel. Dr. Zweerink is an astrophysicist, a researcher, an apologist, an author, a speaker, etc., etc., etc. He works with Reasons to Believe. You can find out more about him and about the ministry at reasons.org. Their resources are solid scientifically. I always tell people this. If you want to share apologetical resources or information with skeptics, especially ones that are kind of in the scientific realm, you need to use resources that are going to stand up scientifically. And there are, unfortunately, a lot of apologetics resources out there that won't. So go to reasons.org and find some that will. I believe that you'll be blessed. Anyway, Dr. Jeff Zweerink is on the show with us today. Dr. Zweerink, welcome back to Best Facts Apologetics Answers.
Nate, I'm glad to be back, and I appreciate the kind words. I do know we work really hard to be scientific, have scientific integrity in what we do, and so I appreciate the recognition of the work we do to do that.
Hey, thank you. Again, I've said it before, but my undergraduate degree was in chemistry, and so it's discouraging to me sometimes when I see things and I feel like all I have is a bachelor's degree in chemistry, but I can see right through it. And as I've read a lot of your resources, that's never happened. It's legit, it's tried and true, it's authentic, and I've shared them with a ton of scientifically minded friends that have some of those questions. So thanks again. Well, hey, we've been talking a little bit about intelligence, artificial intelligence. If you missed that question, go back to the Great Commission Alliance Media channel on YouTube and check out the Best Facts Apologetics Answers playlist. So the next question that I have for Dr. Zweerink is, the development of artificial intelligence requires intelligent designers and a whole lot of intelligent designers. Does this tell us anything about the relationship between intelligence and a creator? Let me explain. There's a principle that no effect can exceed the power of its cause. So what does artificial intelligence reveal about the mind and intelligence of our cause?
You know, I find that a fascinating question, because the pursuit of artificial intelligence, whether in those terms or not, is 50, 60, 70 years old. I think you go back into the 50s and 60s when computers were being developed, and they said, well, what if we do this and pursue this? And kind of the thought was, you throw a relatively small group of people and give them maybe 10 years to work on it, and they'll just bang the solution out, and it's really not that big a deal. And here we are, 40, 50 years later, and we built things that can do aspects of what we do better than what we do, but we're still, they're not the intelligence in the way we think about it. And one of the things I find fascinating in that journey is that there have always been these milestones of, if we could do this, then that would be intelligent. And one of those was, can we build a computer that could play chess and beat humans? And they built the computer programs that could beat humans at chess, beat the entry-level humans, and eventually in '97 they were able to beat the grandmasters, the best human chess players. And what's interesting about that is that once the computers could do that, clearly they were playing chess better than the best humans, but you looked at the way they did things and it's like, no, this still isn't intelligence. It required humans to come up with the algorithms. It required, at the end of the day, when Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov in chess, Garry Kasparov was probably a little discouraged, went home and dealt with the frustration of losing a certain way. With Deep Blue, they unplugged it and dismantled it. And so, clearly there's a difference in how we think about the intelligence in Deep Blue versus Garry Kasparov. And so, there have been, other ways, other milestones of there's a more complicated game called Go. And even though computers can beat the best human chess players or human Go players, even in language processing, the AIs that are out there are getting better and better and able to do things better than humans. And yet in all of that, there's still this recognition that there's something different about the way humans do it. We're throwing enormous amounts of computer resources millions and billions and maybe even trillions of dollars at doing that, building the most powerful supercomputers that we know how to design. And we still haven't created something that we found that we call intelligence. It can adapt, it can learn in some sense, but it's still operating very differently than the way a human does. In part because, and I think one of the aspects of that and why we will never get it is that in their nature, humans, not only are we intelligence, but our intelligence flows out of our relational nature. And we are trying to build intelligence out of something that's inherently not relational. And I think that's always going to be a fundamental barrier. But even if we just take that, say we actually create something that is genuinely intelligence, what it will tell us, as your question alluded, it's like we've invested enormous amounts of resources. The best human minds have been working at this, training this thing using very complex data. The engineering and the design behind it is phenomenal to get what we will say is an intelligence. And I think that very strongly points to the idea that our minds are the reflection or the outcome of an intelligence in operation. And what's fascinating is that we don't see that just in the intelligence side, we see that in the life side as well. People have been trying to create life in the lab, take the genetic code, engineer a novel genetic code, reinsert it back into a cell and see if it can live. And we've been able to do that, but it's taken millions of dollars, a collection of the brightest humans, an enormous amount of time, and we've been able to replicate what happens readily in nature. Again, the mind behind creating life in the lab, as well as the pursuit of artificial intelligence, really does highlight that we, being living intelligent beings, have a mind behind us. And I think that's a fascinating conclusion that is strengthened as we know more about what it takes to build intelligence and what it takes to build life.
Excellent answer. We don't get intelligence without an intelligent cause. We don't get life without a living cause. We're starting to see a pattern here, and that's going to come up in the next question about the cause of the universe. I hope you've enjoyed this answer with Dr. Zweerink, and definitely you don't want to miss the next one.